and community health the same, or are they two different aspects?
Yeah, the question community health is confined to certain region and certain communities. But actually speaking, community health is a part of public health. When you talk about public health, it's a larger context. People. It includes all kinds of communities, not one single community. But when you're talking about community health, you talk about generally the community health with special reference to maybe Adivasis or maybe slum dwellers or of a particular community. So when you talk about community, it is a geographical location of a particular group, cultural group or geographical group. But community health is a part of public health.
Sir, the same gentleman, Mr. Irtaka Husain, he is asking, school health education model, do we have something like that? And if so, where can we get idea about it? He must be from a school. So he's asking us, school health education, if we have to as teachers, is there some model which we can look into?
Friend, in DPEP and SSA, people have done work in this area and health education. But today, what I spoke today is about critical health education and critical public policy education. But health education, mostly it talks about health and hygiene in a conventional sense. You see, school health policy, for example, every school should have a health policy. This we have not established so far. As teacher educators, we have not done some work in this area. Every school should have a health policy. My own university should have a health policy. But unfortunately, universities do not have health policies of their own. This is a very important question you are asking. National health policy is okay. Every state should have their own state school health policy. That is also not available. But in the West, people are encouraging to have health policies for schools, institutions, universities. It's a very important thinking one should do in this area. This is a very potential area where we can start thinking about it. Thank you for asking this question.
Sir, Dr. Kafil Ahmad, our principal from Model School, Hyderabad, he has a question about the present pandemic. Do you think we have enough medical infrastructure, and do you think enough is being done or more should be done?
This question we all know. You see, the people, media is reporting that we don't have adequate infrastructure. For example, ventilators are not available. Because of non-availability of ventilators, people are dying. This is the fact. So many stories we listen. Not only in India, Indian conditions are very, very poor. But even outside, this is happening. So we don't have adequate infrastructure. We don't have concern for people. That is the important thing. That is lacking. Great concern for people's welfare, people's health. That is not there, and we have become, normal. We also don't think about such things. So now the situation has come.
It's 12 o'clock.
All of us should collectively engage.
Sir, this is a question from Ms. Najamus Saher. Her question is the development of education missing the links with the development discourse? I think you did say about it, sir. The development discourse and the development of education, are there any missing links, sir? And how we can bridge those links?
What I said was, the idea of development itself, which we have mostly, we may discuss in our psychology courses, cognitive development, social development. We may discuss Piaget, Vygotsky, blah, blah, blah. These are all okay. These are all disciplinary knowledges. But my concern is we need to go beyond this kind of discourse, academic discourses. We need to go beyond and raise certain important questions, very broader questions related to development of people. So that is lacking in our system of teacher education. That's what I'm talking about.
Sir, there is one more question from Mr. Ashraf Nawaz. How can people or community build rapport with the government to achieve equity in public health? So what is our role, an individual's role in building public health?
This is a very critical question. Very critical question he's asking. Very important question, which I think I cannot answer also, but I make an attempt to answer that. See, public health educators should be activists. Unfortunately, the way we do our academics, we just study. We live in libraries and we write something and we publish, but we don't do activism. For example, if you think about some of the Western universities who were doing activism, they were expelled. Andrew Giroux, the follower of Paulo Freire, was expelled from many universities because he was writing about public in teacher education departments. And there were so many feminists who were questioning the system in the education departments. They were, thrown out of the system. So activism, when activism enters into your thinking, and your thinking and doing, if they go together, we call it as praxis. Education should become praxis. It should become organic. When it becomes organic, we emerge as a leader. Okay. So education, as educationist, when I become a leader, then I start leading the community. Nearby communities, for example, my students have started a forum called Akshara. And many universities, students have their own forums like this. This Akshara, my students work in some of the slums, particularly in Addagutta area and Manikeshwar Nagar, they work with communities, they start teaching. And also they try to empower them with respect to health and taking them to a medical doctor. Okay. Little things they are doing it, but as an activist, taking the issues to, these certain state departments, that is not happening. That should happen. So at different levels, we have to work. Our leadership should emerge at different levels. Not just empowering people, but also we need to lead and take them to different departments, policymakers, whatnot. We have to think seriously about this. But thank you very much. It's a very complex.
So there's one more question from Madam Amtur Maimuna. This is towards the digital divide which is happening because of the pandemic, sir. May not be directly connected. She is asking you about the inequalities in access to online education. So some students are being left behind and it is affecting their health. So her question is, what should we do for those students who cannot access our online education? So how do we address the issue?
It's a very real question, actually. It has come from the field. I don't know how to answer this question, but there is a digital divide. She's right. She is very right in recognizing this. And there are students, my own students, from marginalized families who have come to the university. They write to me that, sir, we don't have access to internet. Some students said, sir, we don't have laptops. Because the conditions are different, the living conditions are different. how to address this, I don't have an answer. Really, university is also thinking about it, how to do it, but I don't know how to build confidence in them. Only on phone I speak to them sometimes, but not always. But as you rightly said, that creates a lot of psychological, uncertainties, the psychological trauma, and it affects their self-esteem, their self-efficacy, uh, in general, their idea of self, about their own self. I don't know how to tackle this, but this is a fact. This is happening. This is happening because of neoliberal economy, the market forces, which are destroying our country and creating a lot of inequalities among people.
Sir, as you were asking, people have responded how to do it about life skills education and then how to build emotions and all that. There
Madam,
is a
can we ask?
discussion which, sir.
Madam, can we ask them to discuss among themselves so that we can?
No, they are all putting it on the chat box, sir, because in the Zoom platform, if we, this voices will be. So generally, we will not be.
Okay.
So
Not possible. They cannot speak now?
Noushad sir,
Yes,
किसी को
yes, sir.
बता सकते हैं?
Yes, they can speak.
We can ask them to speak.
हैंड रेज करें, हम अनम्यूट कर दें.
खुद से अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं सर.
महमूद साहब पूछना चाह रहे हैं कुछ. महमूद साहब.
जी सर, बहुत शुक्रिया.
जी महमूद साहब.
जी सर, बहुत शुक्रिया सर. मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर?
आ रही है सर, आ रही है.
प्रोफेसर सुधाकर साहब को सबसे पहले मैं मुबारकबाद देना चाहूंगा कि उन्होंने बहुत ही थॉट प्रोवोकिंग प्रेजेंटेशन दिया. मैं उनका शुक्रिया भी अदा करना चाहूंगा. सर, आपने जो बैकग्राउंड बताया सुसाइटल टेंडेंसीज का और ड्रग्स के सिलसिले में आपने बताया और सोशल इनसेंसिटिविटी पर भी आपने बात की, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. बहुत क्रूशियल इश्यूज आपने उठाए. क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि हमारी जो कोशिशें हैं इन ऑर्डर टू एड्रेस ऑल दीज इश्यूज, द सिस्टमैटिक एफर्ट may be termed as value education with training? This is just a idea in my mind. I don't know how far you do agree with this.
You are right, absolutely. This is a part of value education, because value education is a very broad. It's a very broad. Value education has to enter into all the disciplines of knowledge, yes, all the subjects. And as you rightly said, it is related to the value discourse in general. You are right, sir. You are absolutely right. Your observation is correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
ये वकार, मोहम्मद वकार.